What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing today? Okay, I had to get my tea ready. You guys can hear me okay? Want to make sure. You guys hear me? Let's see. Let's see. All right. Who's in here? Frog Lid, Little Yeet. Okay, JB. All right. Just give it a quick second. Make sure we get some more people in here. This is going to be the spoiler version of uh, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Right, thought they killed Chewie. I thought they killed Chewie too. I almost got me. Okay. All right. Awesome. I'm glad you guys can hear me. Okay. This is going to be the spoiler discussion of Rise of Skywalker. And you know what? This was supposed to be. Again, this is what Disney, Lucas, Studios, all of them, this is what they claim. This was supposed to be the final chapter in the Skywalker saga. Um, my initial take, if you haven't seen the my spoiler free review, my initial take was that this was very entertaining. This movie was really, really entertaining. I mean, it gave us everything a Star Wars movie basically gives us, right? Like this stuff is formulaic. You get your starships, you get your lightsaber battles, you get your force abilities, your good versus evil. That's all you need in any Star Wars movie, right? And they gave that to us. And it was very, very entertaining, but it was also disappointing for me. It was disappointing mainly in the way that they did the story. The story just really didn't come together for me very well. It felt kind of messy. Felt like they just threw all this different stuff at you, and they just wanted to see what was going to land, I guess. Of course, you've heard a lot of different things about, there was all this fan service, right? I kind of want to explain the difference between fan service and pandering. I think this movie was pandering more than it was giving fan service. Fan service, in my opinion, is more like, hey, here's something familiar or something that resonates within the story, within the franchise that fans will appreciate, right? But pandering, I think, is kind of like when they're like force feeding you something in the hopes that you're really, really gonna like it, maybe to either win your favor or maybe to beg for forgiveness. And I feel like this movie kind of pandered way more than it needed to, because of the backlash from Last Jedi. And regardless of however you feel of Last Jedi, some people liked it. I was one of them. Some people didn't like it. That's cool too. It's totally fine to have a difference of opinion. But I just thought that it was never a good move when you're a team, right? To kind of like retcon or go back on what your teammate, did and step on their toes. You can find a creative way to just course correct a little bit, but without dissing the other movie before you. Like that part kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I just didn't like that. If you're gonna tell a different story, that's totally fine. But I just don't think it's cool to have what appears to be a bit of infighting or odds within a franchise. Like, you guys are supposed to plan this stuff out better. But anyway, I went to go see Rise of Skywalker the second time, just because I wanted to really be fair. I wanted to make sure that how I was feeling about this movie was as good as I can make it, as accurate as possible. And so I took a lot of notes, and I do kind of want to go through like scene by scene and kind of give you more of like my spoiler filled thoughts. And I obviously want to know what you guys thought about these moments as well. So let's see. I see we got some more people tuning in. Ben Tube, what's up? How you doing? Dave Anderson, how you doing? Let's see. Joe, I see you. Erica B, how are you? All right, clap and a half. What's going on? My man, just my opinion reviews. What's going on? Okay, so um, that was my initial take. Entertaining but disappointing. Um, it's not going to be the highest in my rankings of Star Wars movies. Um, I feel like this movie really should have tried a lot better to end the Skywalker saga, but it felt like it only ended Force Awakens. Like, it felt like JJ was like, forget Last Jedi. I'm just gonna end everything from Force Awakens, and that's it. So if we want to look at it as a conclusion to this new trilogy, it did that. But that's not what they're trying to do. That's not what they say they want to do. I mean, when you look at the plot description and all that stuff, it keeps on talking about it's the end of the Skywalker saga. And I feel like they kind of dropped the ball with that. But anyway, first things first. The opening scene with Kylo Ren, he is still no joke. And I love that. I love the fact that they opened up with Kylo on a mission. I mean, he is slicing through people, cutting them up, going left and right. He means business, and I was all for that. Let me sip a little bit of my tea. I was totally all for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. And then we get to the good stuff, right? He meets Emperor Palpatine, because in this movie, Emperor Palpatine sent out like this wide message, which I believe is in Fortnite. So if you look up Fortnite, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, you can actually hear the message that he sent out to the galaxy. And what I liked about this was like, yo, Kylo was not having it. He was like, no, I'm the supreme leader. I don't care who this is. Wherever Palpatine is, I'm killing him. It's done. There's no questions. And I like that, because that was what he was all about from The Last Jedi. When he meets up with Palpatine, though, Palpatine makes him an offer, and he's like, hey, I'm going to give you everything, you know? And oh, by the way, I was the one that made Snoke, and that's fine. I mean, it would have been nice to have Snoke be a little bit bigger of a player in this whole thing, but he wasn't. Um, and unfortunately, he was just a random clone, I guess, that Palpatine's been making. Okay, fine, fine. Palpatine makes clones. Not gonna complain there. It's Star Wars, whatever. And it was kind of cool that we kind of revealed that or it was revealed to us that Palpatine has always been all the different voices that's been corrupting um Kylo. Again, cool, fine, no big problem with that either. That's okay. Can y'all help me out though? Where did Palpatine come from? How did he survive? Anybody, anyone got any ideas? I mean, I know there are a lot of theories out there. There are a lot of theories out there. But do we know? The movie sure doesn't tell us. The closest we have is the movie telling us that Palpatine has died many times before. When? What are you talking about? When? Just I feel like you can't have a movie that's supposed to be a conclusion and you want to leave stuff unanswered. Kind of defeats the purpose of being a conclusion. I'm just, like, and it does, in my opinion, open up more issues with Palpatine and his return not really being answered in the movie for two reasons. One, you know, I kind of feel it affects everything that happened in Return of Jedi, but I will definitely get back to that later. And for two, it's kind of like the movies are supposed to be like the gateway for casual viewers, right? Like that's what started this whole thing. I don't feel as though you should make the movies so open that people now have to go read the novels and read the comics and watch some side cartoon just to figure out this basic question, because you could have literally just answered this in like one sentence. You could have said something like, you know, um, my death was exaggerated, but my followers kept me alive. Okay, fine, fine. Maybe you never died. Maybe somebody found your body and kept you alive, and you've just been in hiatus or something. Anything would have been nice, but to just leave us there with no explanation. Now his entire character and his character's motivations and everything about, I would say, his past even feels like a plot device. It feels like you just stuck him in here. It was almost like, I almost kind of imagine if there was if you're in the Disney writing room for Star Wars and some writer was just sitting here like, hey, it'd be cool? Palpatine. And someone else, and JJ was just sitting there like, do it. Do it. And that's it. That's how we got Palpatine in this movie, because I have no other idea why this was a good idea. You couldn't even have given us maybe a new villain that was like really, behind the scenes. All right, sorry. I didn't come here to rant on Palpatine, but it was a very big problem to me that you just threw him in there with very little supplemental information. Just, you don't need to go in depth. Just something would have been nice. So, um, when it comes to Kylo meeting with Palpatine, though, and again, you guys let me know what you think about this. Why didn't Kylo just kill him? What kind of bothers me is just the fact that Kylo from Last Jedi already had the mindset that I'm done with the dark side. I'm done with the Jedi side or the light side. I'm doing my own thing. And that to me excited me about Kylo Ren. I thought that was pretty cool that we're going to get a different type of path. We don't know if it's good, we don't know if it's bad, but it's Kylo's path. And for him, he was like, I'm not dealing with no masters, I'm not dealing with nothing. I'm going to be the new head honcho around here. And then when Palpatine comes around and he's like, I can give you ships. Why didn't he just kill him? Why? F your ships. He didn't need them ships. He already had ships and stuff. Like, that was enough to make him turn and become subservient again. That? So I thought that was a definite pushback on Kylo's character. I thought it reduced his character. I thought it made his character take two steps back, because it was kind of like, dude, you literally went from like this whiny emo guy to finding your new path, which was to be like the real supreme head honcho, and then now you go back to being like this subservient dude, and it was just kind of like, why y'all do Kylo like that? Like, I don't know. It was, it felt rushed. it felt rushed and underdeveloped, and I don't think it did the character any favors whatsoever. Um, but that was just that was just bad for me. Like the opening scene to me had a lot of potential to just explain some things, to help with some character development, and it just literally went two steps back. But whatever. The light speed battles. I thought those were pretty cool. When we were doing the light speed jumping around and um you know hold on, hold on. Somebody said I missed something because Palpatine said if he was to be killed by Kylo. Okay. Okay. Dave Anderson. All right. You got me with something here. He said Palpatine said that if he were to be killed by Kylo, that Palpatine would be inside of him and he'd be his puppet and all. My only thing is I'm not buying all that because that entire subplot, I guess, feels kind of weak. The whole thing about like possessing people, you know, I wouldn't mind it too much if they had emphasized it a little bit more. And what I mean by that is more like if they would have made that plot, that angle, a little bit more devious, right? Because e- e- even if that was his plan, right? Whether it was to possess Kylo or if it was to possess Rey, whatever, why would you just tell somebody that? You know, like what? Like it would have been cooler, I think, had Palpatine tricked them in some way somehow. Because keep in mind, Palpatine's a very devious person. Like this is the guy that fooled the entire Jedi Council for years, and then to just sit around and be like, "Here's my master plan. I'm gonna possess you soon." I mean, like, who would agree to something like that? So I know it's Star Wars, but I feel like they've done better, and it just the whole structure of it was just not that good. Um, and it just could have been better. So I didn't want to harp on Palpatine too much, but like, yeah, that part I was not feeling that. So, but back to the light speed hopping. I thought that was kind of cool that they gave us that new little, spaceship battle. Um, after seeing it in Last Jedi, I thought it was really dope that they did the hyperspeed move. That was just pretty awesome. Um, so it was cool to see those little things. I thought the humor in this movie was done pretty well. There were definitely some moments where I was just like laughing out loud. I mean, Poe and Finn, and even CP3PO. I know he's a little annoying sometimes, but he was kind of funny sometimes to me. Um, but let me see what else. What do you guys? Uh, let's see. Dark Force in the stand. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing that you guys are talking about how they mentioned a couple things in there. Yes, I know that this movie tries. It tries to throw things in there here and there, but it's just not I don't think it was executed well. And for some people that might be cool, that's fine. For me, I just thought that they could do better. They've been doing better, but the humor was pretty good. Um I had a good time with it. Let me see what else. Oh, Ray. I actually really like the fact that they had Ray training. Thank you. Why couldn't y'all have her train in Force Awakens? I mean, I was never a fan of how quickly they made Ray just I mean, I'm sorry to say, she was a Mary Sue character. She literally came in and she just had all these powers. And for me, the reason why that was kind of problematic is because, before watching episode 9, I watched all 8 movies like in 48 hours. Don't ask me how, but I managed to do that first. Every single time, even people like Luke, like someone who's a natural, right? You either need to be told how to do something, you have to see it, or someone has to teach it to you to do some sort of force ability. And Ray out of nowhere was just like, I know how to do Jedi mind tricks in Force Awakens. And I was just kind of like, what? How? Like, that just didn't make sense. I mean, yes, I know you have potential and all that, but to just know that you can do this one certain specific ability, that's a little bit of a problem for me. But I like the fact that they actually had her training now. I like the fact that, she, now it makes more sense that she's able to do so many really cool things with the force, and we'll get to that as well. But I thought that was pretty cool that, like, okay, she's training, so she's got the Jedi techs, so who knows what she could have learned from there. I like that. I like that. That was fine. Um, I was feeling the Carrie Fisher moments with Leia, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. Um, I like the fact that, we got those little emotional moments. I mean, obviously they were going to pay tribute to her, and I thought they handled that pretty well. I know some people were saying they had issues with the CGI. It didn't bother me. I barely even noticed it. Did you guys notice the CGI? Like, was it an issue for you? Because it didn't bother me. So um I was very fine with that. But it definitely brought back the feels. So I was pretty cool with Carrie Fisher and having those little emotional moments. Um we go back to the scene with Kylo Ren putting his helmet back together. This felt like an obvious retcon to Last Jedi. Um didn't think it was necessary. Again, it was kind of like, so you're just gonna make this guy go backwards, literally, physically, with the helmet, and he's got like a monkey staff. Are those? Do we know the alien race of them monkeys? Are they monkeys just evolved? Is this some Planet of the Apes like crossover or something? I don't know. I don't know. But I just didn't think it was cool to have him go back again. So emphatically, in that way. It just again felt like a deliberate shot at Last Jedi, and I don't think that's necessary for a story. Um, Lando coming back, Lando was dope. I loved him. I liked him in Empire Strikes Back. Um, I thought that was pretty cool that he made his little cameo and everything. Definitely good for the field. Hey, when Chewie saw Lando and he was happy, I was happy. Like I was just like, look at them, they happy. Look at the bros. Like it was just a nice feel good moment. And I really, really like to see like those were the good things. Like this movie really got the emotional stuff right, in my opinion. I really like to see the old characters come in, but they don't like take over, like their time is kind of done. But it's kind of like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How you been? So Lando, love that. Um can you guys tell me what did you think Finn was gonna tell Ray? When, after they fell through the sand or whatever, Finn was like, Ray, I've got something so important to tell you. I interruption. We never go back to it. Anybody know what he was gonna say? I personally think he was just gonna confess his feelings for her. But again, that goes nowhere. What are we doing? Why? What's the point? If you're not gonna hook them up, leave it alone. Like I don't I didn't get the point of that. But all right. Um the force healing was cool. I like the idea of I'm always down for new force abilities in the movies. But of course, Baby Yoda did it first. Shout out to Baby Yoda, always setting things right. If in case you missed that connection in the Mandalorian, spoiler alert, I suppose, for the latest episode of Mandalorian, Baby Yoda did a force healing. And for you vigilant, eagle-eyed viewers, in episode 2, I believe at the 424 mark, Baby Yoda almost, and he teased it, he was going to heal Mando at that time too. So we almost got a force healing in episode 2 of Mandalorian, but it became more prominent in episode 7. So it was pretty cool that Baby Yoda got, that he did it, and then Ray did it. So It's canon. I know. I think it used to be like in the old Legends or something like that, but whatever. We got it now. Um, I like the fact that they emphasize the force bond or the I don't know the force instant messenger communication that Kylo and Ray had. That was pretty cool. That we not only got more of that, but we got to see them play a little bit more with the physical transportation stuff. I can't explain that. I don't know if anyone can. I don't know if we need to, but it's the force. All right, cool. We're fine. Um, so I see some more people joining in. Hold on, let me give some quick shout outs. Marv, my man Marv, what's up? Decky, how you doing? AK Sour, what's up? What's up? Maryam, how you doing? Okay, okay. Kimberly, how are you? Okay, all right. Just want to get those quick shout outs. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, I feel like they played Ray, not Ray, Rose bogus. Why they play that woman like that? Like, I'm not sitting here saying that she had the strongest character at all. Okay, so don't get me wrong. Rose was not the strongest character. I did not like how they tried to force her onto Finn's character at the end of Last Jedi. Like that was weak. But you know, her like the real actress um had gotten like cyber bullied and like just harassed by like some really sick trolls online. And to me it was kind of like, I know the character is not that good, like she's just not, but why y'all play her like that? Why y'all cut her line? Like she just had a couple lines. I forgot she was in the movie. It wasn't until the second time I saw it and I was like, oh snap, Rose, what you, like she was like a background character or something. Like I just feel like they kind of caved into the trolls, and to me, I'm just saying, like if I was an actor, I would have been kind of like insulted by that. But whatever, I didn't think they needed to cut her down like that. But okay, I know we saw some of y'all said this before. When I thought Chewie died, it took me a minute because Chewie didn't need that. I Man, and you know what? I'm I'm kind of iffy about this because I kind of felt as though they negated the stakes in this movie by bringing Chewie back. I mean, I love Chewie. Chewie's been my dog for a long time, no pun intended. But um, you know, I felt like it would have given the movie a little bit more emotional weight had they actually lost someone vital like that. I mean, the last two movies were killing old characters off left and right. So it's kind of like I didn't want Chewie dead, but at the same time, I'm like, if you guys are gonna go that route, like it would have just, I don't know, I feel like it would have meant a little bit more for the story. Now that's me as a critic talking. As a fan, I don't want Chewie to die. Like I love Chewie. But as a critic looking at like the story structure and stuff, I'm like, yo, that would have really pulled at our heartstrings and really would have made everything that they do after just mean 10 times more. So I'm glad they brought him back, but it kind of feels like it made the movie lose a little bit of a punch, to like really just make the stakes mean something, But anyway, that was just my quick thing. You know, Chewie's my dog. I love Chewie, man. I love it. I love it. Let's see the new characters. What's the name of that chick that Poe used to know? I don't know, the chick with the helmet and all that. I, Personally, I'm not a fan of like the final movie of a huge saga introducing new characters. To me, it's just kind of like, why are you doing that? Because now I'm sitting here wondering, like, who is she? When am I going to see her again? And it's kind of like it's detracting from me trying to get closure from this final movie. and Zori. Thank you, thank you, man. You guys are so on top of things. Thank you. Um, and it's kind of like, what? I mean, She didn't hurt the movie or anything like that. It was actually the other new character, and I'll talk about her later. But it's just like, why y'all? Why are we introducing new people? Like, let's just focus on closing out the Skywalker saga. That's why we're here, right? But all right, whatever. Um, let's see. I like the battle with Ray and Kylo on the sea ship, or what was that, the Death Star or whatever it was. Um, it was kind of interesting because when you look at the battle that they had in Force Awakens, like they were really going at it, you know. And then now it was kind of like both of them are way more polished with their lightsaber fighting and stuff, but they clearly didn't want to kill each other. But then when Ray does her like final stab and everything, it was kind of like, you do want to kill him, but then you heal him because you didn't want to kill him. Like, I was getting a little confused. I'm like, I don't understand y'all relationship. Like, I don't. What do y'all want? Like, what are you guys doing? Do you like him? Do you not like him? And we'll talk about the final scene later. But it was just kind of weird because I'm just like, why would you heal him? But all this time, y'all been trying to kill each other, and it's just again weird stuff. But hey, yes, Decky, I agree with you. Bad writing. That's what that is. Uh, let's see what else we have. So yeah, the fight was cool. I like the fact, that Leia was able to use the Force to contact Ben, you know, like that was, I think it was similar to how Luke was able to do his force projection. Like this might have been like the strongest ability that Leia could ever do, you know, travel the galaxy and contact her son for one last time. um I didn't mind it too much, especially given what we learned later in the movie about Leia. But I liked it. I thought it, you know, added a little bit of an emotional touch to it. Um, and Yeah, it was cool. You know, again, I thought this movie did a pretty good job, at least in, you know, kind of sending Leia off and paying homage and stuff like that. But what did you guys actually think about the flashback that they did for Leia, where they showed Leia training with Luke after Return of the Jedi, if I'm not mistaken? Like, did that help at all for you, or I don't know, did it cause any issues? Let's see. Ah, good point. Somebody said she didn't want to kill him because of Princess Leia. Okay, that's fair. That's fine. I couldn't tell from the way that they was going at one another, but all right. I I'll buy that. Yeah, I love the flashback. My only critique about the flashback, I really wish we could have gotten it in Force Awakens. Like, I wish in episode 7 we had just learned that, oh, by the way, Leia's been getting some training from Luke or whatever, because you know the whole, it just would have explained the whole Mary Poppins in space thing. You know, like, wait, when did Leia all of a sudden be able to do that? And you know, I have no problem with her because obviously she's always had that potential, right? Like, she's the twin of Luke, so clearly she's going to be very similar in power. But it was just like, why didn't y'all just tell us this earlier? You know, like that would have been nice. But whatever, you know, fine. We get it. Now that we have the whole story, now that we know that Leia is a Jedi master, all right, I guess. I just think it would have made the story a little better had we known that earlier. But you know, moving on. Let's see. Now, when Leia died though, when Chewie found out that Leia died, I felt that. I don't know. I'm telling you that this movie got the emotional stuff right. But when Chewie was like, Oh, I was like, oh, it just that was, ooh, that was a good moment. That was a good moment because I felt his pain, man. Oh, that was good. That was good. I really really like that. Um, let's see what else. I liked Han coming back, Han Solo. That was cool. Could have made it a little longer, but that's fine. It was good to see Kylo get a little bit of closure and all that with his character, and in a sense make peace with his dad. So I thought that was I thought that was done pretty well. Um, now Luke came back, Force Ghost. Um, One thing I absolutely love about Luke coming back as a Force Ghost is that you know they made him, I would say, just a little bit more powerful. And that's supposed to be true from A New Hope, where Obi-Wan said to Vader, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And yeah, we started to see um Force Ghosts come back and be strong. Yoda came down, bringing lightning down. He's bobbing, Luke on his head. Luke is out here, raising up his ship, which I thought was a cool Empire Strikes Back, reference. Um, so that was pretty cool. The one thing I didn't really like, and it's minor. I didn't like him catching the lightsaber. Only reason, again, it just felt like a cheap shot to Last Jedi. We don't need cheap shots. We don't need that. Like it just because we remember at the end of Force Awakens, Ray gave the lightsaber to Luke, and then in the opening of Last Jedi, Luke is like, nah, I don't need this. You know, I, I just don't think cheap shots are necessary. It just felt kind of whack. So whatever. Um, but I love the fact that Luke came back, passed down a little knowledge to Ray, keeping up that Jedi tradition. I'm down with that. Cool. Um, let's see. Okay. So stuff is, we're getting close to the end of the movie. Things are starting to build up. I need your guys' help with this. In Last Jedi, they sent out a signal calling for help, right? Nobody showed up. Okay. But in this movie, they sent out a signal and people showed up. Now, what doesn't make sense to me is that in Last Jedi, they sent out a signal, and the only, threat was Kylo and his army, which we're going to assume is much smaller than Palpatine and his much bigger army, where every single starship is able to destroy a whole planet. But now people show up after Luke, Leia die, and that inspired. Fine. Star Wars. All right, fine. Maybe, hey, you know what, Kimberly? Maybe the difference was Lando. Maybe we needed Lando all along and a Colt 45. I don't know. Maybe that's fine. If that's what we want to go, that's fine. Um, let me see. Let's see. Uh, okay, I want to go to this question. How was it a cheap shot? I just thought the lightsaber thing was a cheap shot. Like I said, just it's a visual thing. It's just the fact of Luke tossing the lightsaber and then now he's catching it. It's just one of those things in film that, like, if you see it, you can interpret it one way or the other. And my interpretation was that it was a cheap shot. So that's, you don't have to see it my way. You could just, that's just my opinion about that. Thomas, yes, we are going to talk about Ray's lightsaber at the end. What I'm doing is I'm trying to go in order from the scenes. So right now we're at the battle with all the starships and everything, and it's right before the very big battle and confrontation with Ray and Palpatine. So with that said, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I didn't really like the whole idea of Palpatine explaining his whole plan to Rey. It just felt kind of weird. I thought they could have done it a little better because it was kind of like I always got the impression that Palpatine not only always wanted to follow the rule of the Sith, right? Like be the master and have an apprentice, but now it's kind of like he wants to give his throne to Rey and possess her so that they can be one. And it's just like, when did we change philosophies? Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, if we know we can steal life and stuff like that, w- wouldn't that be more ideal to just like steal people's lives and keep your own life going, or make a clone of yourself and keep going? Like, it's just a little weird that a plan that this guy's had for a very long time all of a sudden just changes to now I want to possess people. And I guess if we were to go off of the whole idea of, I've died many times before, has he possessed other people before? Like, I I don't know. Like, and the fact that this movie's not giving me solid answers, because I don't think it's that hard to just say like it's this, that, or whatever. I don't think we should be guessing, is all I'm saying. I don't think we should be guessing on a movie that's supposed to be the final conclusion, the close of a chapter. Like, this is where we're supposed to get more answers. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, great point. Decky, you said, why didn't he steal the steal Snoke's clones energy or something? Like, why do you need to possess people if you can suck life from others? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but that's. I mean, we can look. People can make theories. We can speculate all day. That's fine. It's fun to do that. I mean, there were a couple ways I thought that this movie could have ended differently, but that's it's neither here nor there. Um, so yeah, the final battle with Ray and Kylo coming in to save the day and everything. I like the whole force handoff thing with the lightsaber. That was pretty cool. But you guys let me know. I personally thought they wasted the Knights of Ren. I mean, I used to hear, because I'm a casual Star Wars fan. Like, I've watched all the movies, I've watched Clone Wars, or I'm watching Clone Wars. So I haven't read the comics, I haven't read the novels, encyclopedias, or anything like that. But I've always heard so much about the Knights of Ren. Like, I've heard so many cool things, like they do this, they do that. And I'm just sitting here like, you guys treated them like they were just henchmen, like they were just random people to just kill off, kind of like the red soldiers in Last Jedi. So it was kind of like, what? I mean, because don't get me wrong, weren't some of the Knights of Ren like the last followers of Luke that he was training, like before he turned on Kylo and all that? Did we see any force abilities or power sensitivity? Again, they just felt like random henchmen, and I'm like, okay, well, just normal goons. Like, all right, I guess that's it. All right, bye, Knights of Ren. Um. Anyway, Palpatine using the Force healing in reverse, I thought was really good, because I thought that was exactly what you would expect with the dark side, right? Like, I thought that was a perfect manifestation of manipulating the Force to do something evil, right? I mean, Ray is like, oh yeah, I'm giving my life energy to heal other people. That's a very Jedi thing to do. Whereas Palpatine's like, give me that, and he's just like taking it for himself. And I love that. I was like, yes, that's some evil stuff. That's Star Wars. That is what we need. And I love the fact that he was doing that. I love the fact that they beefed him up. Like, once he got fully, well, I don't know if he was fully healed, but he was healed up, like his fingers came back or whatever. And they gave him even more lightning abilities. Um, I thought it, but I kind of thought that this was a very missed opportunity to give Palpatine one more lightsaber battle. Now, just check this. If you recall in the prequels, This is the guy that went toe to toe with Mace Windu. He lost, but he still held his own. And then he defeated Master Yoda. Okay. You mean to tell me that after he sucked up all that energy and he's no longer like this test tube baby hanging on this machine or whatever, that you couldn't get his man like a lightsaber and just kind of go one on two real quick and just one more time? Just I just I feel like that would have been a lot better instead of him just being like, I'm fully restored, lightning. And then I mean, doing the lightning thing and then having Ray just like go against that. It's just like we just missed it. Like you had such a cool opportunity to just bring this dude back full force since he's here anyway, and just go at it. Just you can never have too many lightsaber battles in a Star Wars movie. That I'm just saying. Um, I thought the Lion King Force moment in the space was kind of whack. Um, I get it. You heard the Mufasa voice in the air. I personally would have thought it would have been kind of dope if they at least would have shown us some of the characters as Force Ghosts, maybe. Like you don't have to, put the Force Ghost right there, but even if it was in space, because when we were hearing all these voices and stuff, I mean, I was only able to make out maybe like four or five of them. Um, I know Ahsoka was in there from Clone Wars. I think Ezra was in there from Rebels. You had Mace Windu, you had Yoda, you had Obi-Wan, and you had Anakin in there. I'll get to that later. But it's just kind of like it would have just been nice to just kind of actually show who was talking. For the sake of the movie, I'm just saying. I think that would have been kind of nice. But whatever, they didn't want to do that. I didn't like the idea of lightning being reflected back at Palpatine, killing him was good. I mean, this dude didn't learn his lesson when he was fighting Mace Windu. Like Mace Windu messed this dude up in the first place. You would think he would have like a different trick up his sleeve at this point. Like, lightning versus lightsabers not working out. Just I don't know. Like I'm fine with the whole idea of the Jedi getting behind her and um powering her up and stuff. Like, I'm fine with that, but just the whole like not one lightsaber, but two. Come on, guys. Like, we're better than this. We just had Revenge of the Sith where these dudes was fighting in hot lava. Like just hot lava now. Okay. All right. Anyway, then we had the whole resistance show up. They had their Avengers on your left moment. Um, fine. um, uh let's see. Oh, we did get confirmation though of something. We now know, I mean, we suspected it, right? That Finn is force sensitive. I think we all kind of suspected it when he did his when he picked up the whole lightsaber in Force Awakens, and we was like, hold on now. Only Jedi and Sith can touch lightsabers. What you doing with that? You gonna put your eye out, Um, but when he felt Ray die, and when he felt that, it was kind of like, oh, look who's force sensitive now. Okay, all right. So yeah, I think they kept screaming it, right? They kept hinting at it very heavily, but we finally got the confirmation, and that's fine. It's cool. He got his little force sensitivity and all that. Now, okay, all right. Once again, I'm gonna come to you guys. How'd you guys feel about Kylo and Ray's kiss at the end? I'll wait. I actually want to wait and see the comments on this because let me sip my tea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I, I don't think somebody said spicy. It was a spicy kiss. I don't think it was earned. It's just one of those things of like you made these people go back and forth. You know, when did Ray get attracted to Kylo? Was it the shirtless scene or something? Like, was that when Ray was like, "Oh, I feel that force"? Like, was that it? Uh, Just it wasn't needed. I would have been cool if they had like hugged at the end and he like disappeared in her arms. There you go. That's it. But it was just clap and a half. Yes, I absolutely agree. Very, very awkward. I was just like, why are you guys kissing? What are y'all doing? Stop, please. Okay. You know what? It was just as awkward as Rose and Finn kissing in Last Jedi. It's just like, what? Where did this come from? All right, whatever. But just weird. Just weird. Um, and actually, that makes me realize that none of the relationships in this entire franchise made sense. Like none of the potential romances or whatever, or even the friendships, like they just didn't make sense. Like all of a sudden they're a gang and they're like, yeah, we're back, and then Finn and Ray, but Ray kind of put him in the friend zone and Force Awakens, and I'll go to it now. The ex stormtrooper, the one, the black chick that they found. Somebody help me with the name because I forgot it already. I'm gonna just be honest, and I'm gonna put it out there. I feel like she was a plant. I feel like they just put her into the movie just to be. Was it Jana? Jana, I believe. Okay, thank you so much for that. I feel like she was a plant. I feel like they just put her in, and that moment where she met Finn felt so. It felt like a Match.com commercial or something. It was kind of like, oh, you're an ex stormtrooper too? And you're black like me? It was like, come on now. No, no, no. This is a huge galaxy. Okay. You got mofos out here making love to androids. All right. And you mean to tell me that, like, now all of a sudden he just so happens to find it? Come on, JJ. Come on. What are the odds? Oh. And while we're on the odds, you mean to tell me after all this battle is done and everything, Jana just so happens to sit right next to Lando and ask Lando some like, out of everybody, you and Lando? And what was the purpose of that whole conversation? Lando talking about like, oh, where are you from? Oh, let's find out. Is he the intergalactic like ancestry.com? How does Lando know where he's what 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 are we doing? Now, I do recall I was on this other podcast. Shout out to the Chumpcast podcast. And somebody had mentioned that there was like a script leak or something like that. And in the script, supposedly Lando was supposed to be Jana's father. Even if that were true, you mean in this whole wide, far, far, far away galaxy, these two just so happen to me? This is one of my biggest issues with Star Wars and the whole saga. They reduced this huge galaxy to only being about two families and like a small group of people. And it's just like you guys don't have, this is why I love the Mandalorian so much, because the Mandalorian is like, yo, we can actually tell different stories. We can actually go beyond Skywalkers and actually keep this story going and do some more world building. But oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. I'm off that. I'm off that. Okay, so we talked about the kids, we talked about the whack relationships. Who told Ray that she could use the Skywalker name? Did y'all see her papers? Did she get her papers? Did she get her adoption papers? Becky said she didn't need permission. My look, it's not about permission. Again, I do wonder. I just question. Um, why not just make a different name? You're not a Skywalker. You are a Palpatine. Just be Ray. Some of the coolest people out there are known by just one name. Just be Ray. What's your name? Ray. You got a last name? No. Go. I don't know. Ray the Force. I don't know. Just be Ray. Why you got to take their name and stuff? Like, so now I think the way I interpreted that, right? Because I always went into this as this movie was supposed to be, the rise of Skywalker. I thought that it was the rise of like Kylo Ren because that was kind of the predictable thing that they were leading towards, right? They were kind of sitting here talking about, I mean, we saw from the very beginning Kylo was always conflicted, but obviously he was going to turn good. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, Skywalker blood. Hey, he's back, Jack. And if you weren't going to give Ray that parentage, that lineage to Skywalker, then it would be Kylo's story. But I felt like the hijacking was a last minute ad to justify the title. Like this was a bad way to try and like circumvent expectations. Like if you really wanted to throw people off, like I don't think this was really the best way to do it. But uh, and I'm not saying that Rise of Kylo would have been better because again, they really didn't handle that character very well. But hijacking a name at the end really doesn't make it any better. Anyway, Ray has a yellow lightsaber. What do you guys think about it? I actually don't have very much thought about it. I just thought it was cool. Like hey, that's kind of the sign of a new Jedi is like you get to make up your own lightsaber, but to make it yellow, okay, all right. Is that kind of to indicate the fact that she has a little bit of dark but a little bit of light, and I don't know, but the yellow lightsaber was cool. Personally, I think like hold on now, I'm so sick of y'all. Y'all gonna say so? I see you guys are talking in the comments about what Ray's last name should be. Somebody gonna say she should be Ray Sparkle Fingers. I'm tired of y'all. Ray Sparkle Finger, because her granddaddy had the sparkle finger. You know what? All right, y'all, you guys are tripping. That's funny though. That's funny. Um, but okay. Anyway, here's my final thing. Right, my biggest thing with this entire franchise is, and this is totally up for debate. I kind of feel like, there's a question out there, and you guys can definitely, take your shot and let me know what you think about this. Do you feel as though Rise of Skywalker ruined Anakin's legacy? Anakin Skywalker's legacy. Um, there's a lot to kind of digest with that. Personally, I think it can go a ton of different ways. When I think about Anakin's, legacy, I'm trying to go back. Like I was watching these interviews with George Lucas and some of the behind the scenes stuff, and George Lucas was very, very adamant that the whole Star Wars thing was all about Anakin, one way or another. Like Anakin was always the central character, right? So even if the movie wasn't 100% about him, some way in there, he's still an important factor in it. Like he is the chosen one, right? Lucas confirmed that Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one from the prophecy. So to me, the prophecy now starts to add a little weight because if the prophecy was false, then you can't have a chosen one. But if you're telling me that Anakin is the chosen one, then now I have to look back at the prophecy and see what's going on with that. And the prophecy went something kind of similar to, there's going to be a chosen one that's going to be born. He will have no father, which Anakin didn't have, and he's gonna, bring balance to the Force. And the Jedi kind of like interpreted that as taking down the Sith, right? Because, and this is also kind of weird because it kind of depends on how you interpret what balancing the Force means. In regular common sense, I think balance simply means you either have X amount of good and the equal amount of bad, and that's your balance. Like, there you go. So if there are two Sith around in all of the galaxy, then there better be only two Jedi, and that's your balance. That's one way. Or if there are no Sith and no Jedi, then there's balance. Um, but I want to say, like, after kind of looking at kind of like how George Lucas talked about the Force and talked about the Jedi and the dark side and stuff like that, it sounded more like the Jedi would work with the Force, not against it. And the dark side users, the Sith, would kind of like try to manipulate the Force for their own personal good and all that. And the Sith were the ones that brought about imbalance. Okay. So if that were true, then that would mean killing off all the Sith or the highest Sith would bring balance to the Force. So if we kind of go with that Lucas type of philosophy, if that's even true, I don't know. I just think that that's just one other philosophy or theory to it. Then Anakin killing Palpatine was supposed to bring balance to the Force, right? Like, if you kill him, then that's it. The Sith are done. However, Palpatine's back. So I feel like because we don't have a solid answer as to why Anakin or why Palpatine is back or how he survived, it does kind of put Anakin's legacy in question. It, like, if he never killed Palpatine, because let's just say Palpatine survived this whole time. Let's say he never actually died, then Anakin never killed him. Okay. But Palpatine said he died many times. We still don't know when or how that happened, but let's say he died. Okay. But then he came back. So it's kind of like, well, if he came back, then well, what did Anakin do? Like, and how long has he been dead? Because Luke said that Anakin brought balance to the Force for many years. Can we trust that? Um, I don't know if we can trust that or not. Like, uh, the Jedi had been having issues connecting to the Force. Luke went and cut himself off from the Force for a little bit. Has Palpatine been hiding his presence away from Luke? Like, I feel like because we've had so many open-ended questions, it's just kind of hard to say. I would like to believe that yes, Anakin brought balance to the Force, and then a new Palpatine came up, maybe via clone or something like that, and that's what it is. But uh, man, for a conclusion movie, we just don't have solid answers. Mr. Adam, how you doing, man? Oh man, hey, much love. Thank you so much for that donation. You guys know I don't really do this for money, but I'll take it. I got 3 kids, so somebody, man, that's McDonald's money right there. Thank you so much. Oh man, thank you so much. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you guys let me know what do you mean? What do you think about the thought of balance to the Force? Do you believe in the whole like it just needs to be balanced? Because here's the other thing. Even if you do believe that balance of the Force means having just enough good and just enough light, well, Rey's a Jedi now, right? Like, does that mean it's off balance? Or is it because she's half Palpatine, half dark side, and now she's a Jedi? Maybe she is the embodiment of balance. Maybe she is. I don't know. I man, I don't know, man. Whew, this is there's a lot. Anyway, look, that's my those are all my thoughts on um, Rise of Skywalker. I'm curious though, where do you guys rank Rise of Skywalker? Like, is it top three of the franchise for you? Is it bottom three? Is it somewhere in the middle? Um, it's kind of hard to. I haven't really sat down and thought about it. For me, because of the storytelling elements, it's gonna be in my bottom like four. Um, I'm not sure where. I don't know, somewhere around somewhere with them prequels, because some of the prequels were kind of rough to get through. But um, nah, you know, kind of hard to say. But let me see what you guys are talking about here. Okay, yeah, Skywalker saga ended with episode six. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I agree. This trilogy does seem like it's its own thing. And again, if that's what they wanted to do, that's fine. But that's not what they said. They said they wanted to end the whole Skywalker saga. So, Joey, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Did I like it or hate it? I don't. It's hard for me to hate something. Like it's really, really hard. Like I've watched some really bad movies and I don't hate them. This movie I didn't hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle. There are some good things and there are some bad things too. So, no, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's alright. It's fine. Um, I just kind of feel as though fine for a Jedi movie or for a Star Wars movie. I don't think that's good enough. I mean, you're talking about like $1 billion franchise. We're not talking about just some random movie right off the streets or whatever. Like, this is a movie with 40 something years of like cachet and heritage and you have like a formula. These movies really do repeat themselves a lot. Like if you watch the whole saga in like chronological order, a lot of things repeat. I mean, one thing that I kind of noticed, and this is why I don't really agree with the backlash against Luke's treatment in Last Jedi. All of the Jedi masters that kind of like lived from Obi-Wan to Yoda and to Luke, they all got really eccentric in their old age. And, you know, they confronted something, about themselves. They had some revelation. And they once they learned whatever piece of wisdom that they did, they became one with the force. So, this is like Star Wars has a lot of parallels and a lot of things that just repeat over and over again. And you know, I don't know. Personally, I'm kind of glad it's done. Just because it I hope it forces Disney to give us new material. I cannot stress that enough. If you give us new material, we don't have anything to really argue about, as like a fan base. Like people will just watch it and be like, yeah, okay, there's the new Star Wars. Like, just again, shout out to Mandalorian. This thing is doing it's proving the fact that you can have a successful franchise without going back to the same small and confined corner of the galaxy. So, um, before I go, let me know also what did you guys rate it? If you go to my spoiler free review, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Um, Not great, not good, not terrible, not trash. Just it's just kind of there, still entertaining, little disappointing. But let me know. I just kind of want to get an idea of what you guys thought about it. You could use your 5 stars, scale of 10, whatever you want to do is fine. Um, but anyway, I've got to run. I actually have to work on another video. Just to kind of give you a hint, I'm going to tell you about my first trip to LA and how I met Eddie Murphy, kind of, and I embarrassed myself. So it's I'll tell you guys the story in the next video. So keep commenting. I will come back a little bit later and talk in the comments and everything just to get your thoughts. Um, but thank you all so much for joining me, guys. I always appreciate it. And until next time, may the force be with you.